Hey, it's time to light the music. No, wait, it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the angry on the Angry Show tonight. Dun 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 dun. Hello, musical aviator. Oh, yeah, the palace letters from John Kerr. It just shows that John Kerr was a fucking weasel. And that it's a joke that a democratically elected government can be removed by an unelected representative of a monarch. Dumb as hell. Mind you, the Whitlam Labor government did not do themselves a lot of favours with just ridiculous blunders and scandals. It's a strange historical occurrence. Invisible Chicken, hello. Getting a bit obsessed with the old blood orange these days. It's a tasty treat. It's shortly there. My beard gets. Maybe I should just cut the beard right back like I used to. Gets a little bit long and it curls. It's really annoying. Stella, hello. It's always, no matter what I do, it's fucking uneven because it fucking curls and it shits me. And I have no interest in having a huge, big, bushy beard. White boy problems. That's what this is. Oh, nice. Invisible Chicken got your plum nectar drinks today. Excellent stuff. It's good to experiment with beverages, I think, whether one is having non-alcoholic or an alcoholic beverage. Temperature. I mean, even just like with Pepsi Max, when I have it, I love putting shots of fruit juice, like citrus, like lemon or lime. Usually, I actually do it with grapefruit once, and that was good too. Or bitters. Bitters in Pepsi Max is nice. So, yeah, it's fun giving you beverage something a little bit different in it. Keeps life interesting, or some version of interesting. Anyway, just okay. Arguably, lime juice in a Pepsi is not the most interesting thing in the world, but it's something. It's something, is what I'm saying. Hey, Justin, how are you this fine evening? That's the good drink. I made a video for my cocktail channel for Bastille Day. I thought it was a good thing to do for the video because there's so many French themed cocktails, and I chose two I'd never made or had before from this list I found. And they were pretty good, very cognac based. One was like 2.5 shots of cognac. But yeah, they were good. Visible Chicken, you and your brother put breakfast juice on LA Ice. Ooh, that's yeah, okay. That's a thing. I'm supportive of that thing. Bobo, hello, and Peter. You watched Marat Sade today. Feels appropriate this Bastille's Day without you realizing. I don't know what Marat Sade is. You mayhap could explain that to me. The only Sade I know is the Marquis de Sade. No, Justin, I don't know anyone who's got their own. There's still not that many people in terms of the overall population have the Rona. So, I mean, even in America where it's getting out of friggin' control, the majority of the population still won't know someone who's got it. But he's about to. Oh, hopefully that's easy. It is. Let me go here. Hey, computer, why don't you react more slowly? There we go. So we get an AIDSy tonight, which is good. I thought we would. That's why I put him in the thumbnail, which was pretty audacious of me. So at some point, we'll have an AIDSy with us, which is good. Peter, it is a play set in an asylum with a play put on for the nobles, written by Dessart, focused on the French Revolution, Marat's eventual murder. Okay. That sounds kind of like part of what was in the movie about the Marquis de Sade, where Geoffrey Rush played the Marquis de Sade. Kyle, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Yes, I tried to read. It was the Marquis de Sade's most famous book, 120 Days of Sodom, and I just found it really boring. Oh, look, you're mutilating someone. Oh, you're murdering someone. Oh, you're torturing someone. Oh, cool, dude. Whatevs. Yeah, I just found it really drudgy reading. Did not actually read that much of it. I didn't feel it's very rewarding. But you turn out hotspots are not locked down. You went from Moe to Oakley and back again. No one stopped you. Oh, okay, Kyle. All caps, hella excited. What is so hella exciting that it has you resorting to all caps? That is the big question. Doing the internet shouts. You have a DVD copy of 120 Days of Sodom. Well, that's worth getting excited over, certainly. Oh, actually, sorry. Are you referring to Salo, the Italian film? I think there's only sort of subtitled 120 Days of Sodom, but I think that's what you're referring to. That film that is like so totes illegal in Australia. Pete, this one's explicitly anti-bourgeois. Play and inmates get clamped down whenever they say something particularly revolutionary. Nice. Ooh, Catherine, you're actually going to the office tomorrow. Wow, I'm actually surprised, I guess. As a betting man, I reckon I'm going to be working from home till at least the end of the year. I mean, we'll see. But it would not surprise me if I was working from home till the end of the year. Myth just announced their program. Looks good. I did see that they were announcing that. I didn't see what was on it. Based on the Marquis de Sade play. Okay, there you go. Again, I've been on the internet too long. When you put that thing for the Melbourne International Film Festival, Myth, I momentarily saw it as MILF. Oh, a MILF Film Festival. I've been to that website today. Life, isn't it strange? Oh, Catherine, so there's usually only 3 of you in the office. Okay. Yeah, I am currently working for a state government department, and there's a big department, so there's a lot of people on the floor, and a lot of people learning, and they've been very proactive with work from home thing. In fact, my team started working from home about a week before everyone else, because we kind of saw the writing on the wall. This is going to be official really soon. And we've sort of got a directive now that you can work from home if you want. And we just went, oh, let's all work from home then. And then everyone did. Justin, you're betting the working from the office won't be for long in Sydney. I think Catherine's in Adelaide. No cases and all that sort of thing. Kyle, at least it isn't Muff, the guy that runs Hella Cray. Hey, Dingle Dirty, how are you? How's everything in your world? Good to see you. As we're all rocking and a rolling on was it Tuesday night? A couple times today, I just found myself going, fucking day, is it? Is it? Wait, What? No, there's like, no, it's Tuesday. Cool. Cool. Pete, that is a really good point. Don't go outside. Everyone and everything is cake. Actually, you know what I think? I think the real thing is, you see, I don't know if you've seen these videos that have been, I mean, I've seen them before, but there's a real surge of them lately. People making cakes that look like things that aren't cakes, and then you cut them and you see it's cake. I think the thing that's really going on is not these hyper realistic cake sculptures. It's the knife being used is actually cursed, and everything it cuts turns into cake. None of those things were cake before the knife touched them. So you got to be afraid, be very afraid of the person wielding that knife, because they can turn you into cake. Catherine, I guess, yeah, Adelaide's supposed to be like no community transmission cases. You can go back to work, I guess. Dingle Dirty, you doing well? Ooh, uni awarded your degree in philosophical studies. You graduate in winter. That is fantastic. That is great news. Yeah, it's like King Midas, but cake. See, Catherine, you don't want that knife because you'll slip one day. It's a cursed knife, and it's destined to do something terrible to you. One time you'll slip and cut yourself, and then you'll be cake. And you're dead, obviously, because you can't survive as cake. Justin, you can claim a deduction on your tax if you're working from home. For what? Deduction for? I have a really clever accountant who's claimed shit ton of deductions for me for ages. Oh, good, Carl, some trivia. Salo was not technically banned from Australian cinemas. Classification Board, anyone wanted to fill the screen, needed to screen the film, special features to be able to screen it. I'm not sure that's right. I am pretty sure it was refused classification. But I know there was a lot of argument from the artsy types about it, so that may be how it ended up. Invisible Chicken, studying online for the rest of the year. Yes, there's a lot of that going on. Oh, Catherine, that is both dark and light at the same time. If you get turned into cake, you will be served at your own funeral. Australian. I'm going to look up what's the current status with Salo in Australia. Refused classification. Now here's one from 2016. In an Australian first, World Movies will screen Salo. All of the film's explicit season formula. Artful Nasty Salo. It was off limits for Australian audiences for decades. When it was finally released into Australian cinemas in 1993, David Stratton gave it a 0 on the movie show. Okay, I think you're absolutely right, Kyle, in that it is possible to do it. Invisible Chicken, studying from home but going to job agency for meetings. Fair enough. Broady Upland. Karl Marx was a racist too. I think there were probably precious few people in history who weren't racist, basically. I don't know enough. I've never actually read any Marx. Not read any biographies of Marx. I don't know enough about him to know if he was normal for his time or racist even by the standards of his time or progressive for the I don't know, because that's not something I've read up on. Justin, you claim 80 cents per hour you work from home according to the tax office. Nice. Well, I'll bet my accountant's all over that shit. You had to go to a screening of Pink Flamingos, handed out vomit bags through. I'm trying to remember if I saw Pink Flamingos. I've seen a bunch of those John Waters films with Divine in them. I'm not sure I saw all of them. Maybe Pink Flamingos is one I didn't see. I didn't see the one that was Scratch and Sniff. One of them, one of his films was Scratch and Sniff, and if you were lucky enough to get to the right cinema, you got an actual Scratch and Sniff car. And at various points in the movie, a number had come up on the screen, and you're supposed to scratch that. And there's things like farts and rotten garbage and things like that. That just seems funny to me. John Waters is a funny guy. I'm trying to think. Which one was Pink Flamingo? I don't even know if I'd recognize it from. Flamingos, 1972 film. So long ago. Is that the one where Divine shoots people? Okay, let's get a plot summary. Notorious criminal Divine hides under the pseudonym Babs Johnson with her mentally ill mother Edie, delinquent son Crackers, and traveling companion Cotton. They share a trailer on the outskirts of Phoenix, Maryland, next to a gazing ball and a pair of plastic pink flamingos. After learning that Divine has been named the filthiest person alive by a tabloid paper, jealous rivals Connie and Raymond Marble attempt to usurp her title. I think I didn't see Pink Flamingos. I've seen some of them, but I think I didn't see that one. There's one where the bit I remember is because Divine is made into a high art fashion model and is into conceptual art. There's a great moment at one of her shows where she gets a bit carried away and pulls out a gun and says, "Who wants to die for art?" And I know people don't take it seriously, and someone goes, "Me," and Divine just bang and shoots the guy. Ends up on trial for murder, surprisingly enough. And I think the film ends with Divine in the electric chair. And I don't remember what that one's called. Yeah. I used to see a few weird films back in the day. Like in the 80s and 90s, liked the Valhalla Cinema in Glebe in inner Sydney. They could always be relied upon to have some weird ones on the rotation. You never knew what you would get at the Valhalla. And they turned this down, but what they used to do was like different movies every night. And they would do, I think it was either 3 months or 6 month calendars on a poster with little pictures of what was on every night. And all the hipsters, like my shared house, all the hipsters always had a Valhalla poster of what was coming up in the coming months. So you could plan to go out and see weird films and try and act really intellectual at parties. Bunch of that went on. Yes. Haven't really, very rarely, I suppose it's like local cinema. The classic is, it's halfway between an art house and mainstream cinema in that it will show mainstream films and it will show independent films. So there's actually quite a good selection, when cinemas are a thing, which is not now. So I haven't gone to a cinema since, well, I suppose it's 4 months ago now. The Deep Dark Past. It's got to be somewhere in that region. 3-4 months ago. It's time. Time doesn't mean anything in it, and time does not mean anything anymore. But it's 3 or 4 months ago. I don't know. Oh, it's okay. Love that question, Catherine. Are snuff films real? I think I would answer that in 2 parts. One, there have undoubtedly been cases of someone being murdered for people's entertainment, and it's being recorded on film or video. 2, the moral panic idea of snuff films, as in there being a huge underground where lots and lots of films are made where someone's murdered. That isn't real. The idea that there's an actual large market of snuff films, that isn't real. But I think it is reasonable to say that it has happened, and probably, certainly in the last 10 to 20 years, with the very easy access to digital video, it probably has happened multiple times. Just at a wild guess, I would say it probably happens. Speaking of snuff films, it's the Walking Dead man himself. Hello.
Oh, yes, everybody's favorite zombie has returned with no teeth because I'm cleaning them.
Right.
Tell
That's
you
fair.
that I was late today because I got caught up in writing the first episode of the Upon the Stairs series.
Oh, nice. Where you met a man who wasn't there.
Yeah. And it's a fucking humdinger. It is completely counter to anyone's expectations.
Okay.
And it's I don't want to say too much about it. I'll tell you about it after.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that we're not breaking any laws. Well, because it brings the group into disrepute. While they deserve the fuck to be in disrepute, big time, you're not allowed to bring a group of any religion or group into disrepute.
Yeah. So, I was trying to think of what was the film. It wasn't a Serbian film, which is apparently one of the sort of grossest slasher films ever made. Eaters of Razor Eaters? Was it Razor Eaters? It was one that I think was actually filmed in Melbourne. These people doing crime rampages and stuff. And it was so sort of gritty and brutal looking. People started to freak out and think, I don't think they're actors. I think they were really actually real. Yeah. And it wasn't, but it was one of those things. And then Peter's mentioning the old 80s direct-to-video exploitation, Cannibal Holocaust. Some people thought, no, it's real. They really killed them and ate them. And the actor who died in the film had to show up in court and say, I'm not dead.
Here. Hi.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm so alive.
Someone would probably know what I'm talking about. It's called Razor Eaters or Eaters of something. And I think it was made in Melbourne, and it created a mob. And also because the people who were doing the really dirty distribution of it did nothing to quell this urban legend of, no, this is real,
hell
man.
No. Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah.
Oh, every fucking 16-year-old in the world wants a piece of that.
Yeah.
Even though it's a plus 18 video. You remember when we were kids and we wanted to watch This Violent World and Shocking Asia.
Yes.
We always got a way round the fact that you had to be over 18
yeah,
to get it, which is ironic. back in our day, you had to be 16 to smoke, and 17 to drive, and 18 to watch films and
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
Now it's 18 to all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Now I'm trying to remember all those video nasties. Shocking Asia, Savage Man, Savage Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're just,
Really
really
great.
fucking gratuitous travelogues of violence. And
Modern Slave.
yeah.
Was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible because they showed the abuse being done to these people who were modern slaves, and they went all around the fucking world, and they went through Africa where
Yeah.
people were being just burnt by children for fun, and
Yeah.
ill, and then they went through Asia, back when China didn't have much of a say in anything, and they
Yeah.
showed girls being beaten because they didn't satisfy the customer, and the customer would come out and he was this fat, bloated, fucking army official who,
Yeah.
to find his dick, he'd have to fucking lift up 15 fucking kilos of fucking flab just to get in there, and the smell would have been something different. And if you're that fat, your cock basically hides inside you. All right, you had a
Dangerously
hard on, but
Talented thought of another one. Faces of Death. You remember Faces? Yes.
I remember. Oh, that was fucked.
Yeah,
And
they
then,
all were.
of course, the thing that stopped everyone was Animal Farm. That was just wildly fucked.
I think you're thinking of a different Animal Farm to what I'm thinking of.
Oh, it was supposed to be a porno shock, but it was this woman who fucked all her animals on her farm.
Right.
And then she went to jail. And then she came back from jail, and no one had fed or released the animals. So they'd all died and rotted in their pens.
Right.
And she came back to find this and was so totally overwhelmed that she hanged herself. And
well, that's cheerful.
The film ends with this 5-minute fucking shot of her hanging in her house.
Cool.
It's like,
very good.
Where does this get good?
Yeah.
It's not a thing. And people would put it on at parties, and you'd go, why have you done that?
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the end of the shock video world.
Yeah.
Because everybody just went, nah, no more of that. And we didn't see it again until Saw.
Yeah. I remember, the animal one. Big Jeff, I won't say his last name because he's, still a living person. Don't know if you remember, he was actually a year ahead of me in theatre media, but you probably still saw him because he hung around for a long time.
Yes.
But he specialised. He had a bunch of porno videos at a time in Australian history when it was actually quite difficult to get porno videos because they'd been completely ill. Oh, no, you could still get them from Canberra, and that's where he got them.
Get them from Canberra. They were made in Canberra. I know this because I had a job making porno in Canberra.
Yeah.
Not being in the porn, I was only in the porn once.
And that was
but
by
I
accident.
got to clean the sets after they'd finished. And you'd think that was an easy job.
No, that's a terrible job.
You got to move so fast.
Terrible job.
If you don't catch up, amazing setup. Anyway, after you're finished, I'll tell the story about the revolving platform.
Oh no, he specialised in having porno videos when they were actually pretty hard to get. And, for life, it was almost a challenge playing them in the common room in one of the residences. And he had both the full-length ones, which, that's how they used to make pornos back in the day. They were actually movies. And he also had the shorts, which were all from Europe at that point, because the Americans hadn't gotten into making shorts, which is, of course, all that's on the internet these days. But I used to find it was always a joke, like, how much setup will there be before the fucking starts? And, of course, the shorts only go for 10 to 15 minutes. So it's between 5 and 30 seconds. And it was just like a fun thing to go, how long will the setup go before they actually get down to it? But he also, and I thank fuck I was out this night, because he did actually have an animal porn video screening one night. And the way it was relayed to me, like, oh, it was so much worse than you think. And basically, there'd be a scene and we'd all go, ew, but think, well, at least it's not going to get worse than that. And then the next scene would be worse.
And then it does.
And this just cascaded. There were like 6 scenes in it, and each one was progressively worse. And the people were just like, oh, why am I watching this? I'm traumatized now.
Yeah. One of the most horrific things I've ever seen was a guy happy Pierring a couple of pigs. And the pigs had been sedated because they have to be, otherwise they go nuts. So he's fair up one pig, and this other pig has been introduced to him, and the other pig's fair up him.
Yeah.
And halfway through the scene, he says, "Stop! The pig behind me has hurt himself."
Oh gosh.
And they go, "Oh, pull him out, it'll be funny." And that's directly on the video. Pull him out, it'll be funny.
Yeah.
And you know how pigs' cocks are curly. Well, the poor bloody pig had lost a section of his cock in this poor man's ass. And they've gone, the pig's bleeding and screaming. And they've gone, well, we better put it down. And off camera, you hear the shot. And it's like, why did any of this make the cut?
Yeah.
Why did any of this make the edit? Why didn't you just have the happy Pierring going on? Everything's fine. Move to another scene. Oh, no. It's funny watching a pig in pain and then getting shot. You don't watch the pig getting shot.
Yeah.
But, for fuck's sake. And I was just horrified. I thought, okay, raping an animal, we're already in not cool territory. Having an animal jumping on you, okay, that's weirdness. And then hurting the animal is beyond.
Yeah. No, that's all not good.
Enjoying it. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, that's no good.
I have a lot of respect for Europeans, especially Germans, because everything is, super cool, we have learned a lot since the war. First thing we have learned is we are a buffer zone between us and USSR. And they say USSR is gone. It's not. The Germans they hold 6 times a year. They hold a training course where they get all of the NATO air forces in to fly against the actual Russian Air Force planes, because when East Germany fell, all of the Russian planes were in East Germany. So the Luftwaffe very quickly got them into West Germany and sorted them out for parts and for bits and pieces. And now every Air Force that exists might fly against Russian tech. goes out and flies against these turkey feather, ultra maneuverable planes.
Yeah.
And one of the things that these planes do is they do the gooseneck stop. So they no, sorry, the cobra stop. So you'll be flying along behind them trying to shoot them, and then they'll go boop up in the air like this, and whoomp straight behind you, and then boop straight down again behind you, and missile lock on you, and gun lock on you, and fuck your shit up. That is one thing you're going to have a bad day. The other thing they'll do is you'll be behind them, then they'll slide left or right, slow right down, and then slide back behind you. Now, for you to do this, you've got to turn your plane at all sorts of nasty G's that make your blood vessels burst to get around. But these Russian planes just go zoop, 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 and they're behind you, and you've got to have some ideas very quickly. And one of the things they've learnt to do, and the Americans started it, is an Immelman turn. Now, I don't know if anyone's familiar with it. What happens is you're flying straight and level, then you invert yourself upside down, and then you go up or down into a perfect U shape. And what you're effectively doing is going reverse. You've done a reverse skid straight back into the oncoming aircraft. So you're playing chicken and let's swap paint with a plane coming at you at about Mach 2. And your rival tends to be a little bit disturbed by this move, and will either start shooting like crazy or get out the fucking way. And you can do another Immelman at the other end, and then you're behind them. Now, to do these moves, you've really put a lot of stress on the plane. You've really put a lot of stress on yourself. So what they tend to do is they get the laser guidance system that they use for bombing things on the ground, and they train it on the plane, so that when they do the second Immelman behind the plane, because their head's all swimming, right, the plane says, I know where your enemy is.
Right.
Do you want to lock another missile on? And you go, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. That's good. Do you want to fire it now? Yep. That's a good thing. Firing missiles at bad guys is a thing we do. And then after missiles gone, your head sort of starts to clear, and you're going, Fox 2. The Germans helped the Americans and everyone else, and the Australians, practice these maneuvers against these amazing Russian planes. One of the things that is embarrassing is that every day on every American airport and flight deck of a carrier, hundreds of people have got to walk the flight deck to make sure that there's no foreign object debris on the tarmac. Because if it gets sucked into the engine, it'll fuck the engine right up. What the Russians do, because their concrete sucks, and they don't mow their airports, and they don't look for stones, because this is all ridiculous. They do get the sweeper in once a week. What they do is they have these titanium screens that drop down in front of the intakes, And as they're taking off, the titanium screens stay there. They're like a fly screen, and then they flip
Right.
up as soon as you're off the ground, and so more air can get in, and you can really punch it. But you don't have to worry about gravel or fucking crap going in the engine or fucking people or protesters. It just stops it, and it's brilliant. And I just go, it takes a Russian plane 4 hours to hit the ground, refuel, rearm, and check everything is ready to go. It takes an American plane 48 hours
Right.
to turn it around. And you just go, this is why the American carriers have so many planes aboard, because they can only put about between a third and a half of them up at any one time. The rest of them are being stripped down. And it's just like, what the fuck design was that? Remember that we're buying at $112 million each,
Yeah.
180 of these things. And I hope that the boys in Adelaide very quickly, because what happens is we buy American stuff and we say thank you very much. We sign the check and we'll have them. And as soon as they get to Australia, they get stripped out. Everything gets changed. Everything gets fucking modified, and they get rebuilt. Usually with Rolls-Royce engines, not Pratt and Whitney's. And the control boxes, the black boxes that control the flight surfaces, they get changed as well, because there's a nasty rumor floating around that if you are flying aggressively to an American plane with an American built plane, your plane will suddenly stop working.
Yeah.
And there's lots of accidental reasons why you'd be, say you're flying up to a formation of Yanks trying to form up with them. If you're flying at an angle that's quick to catch up, and they see you as a threat, they'll turn you off. And all of a sudden you're in a plane with no engines, no power, and nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And so Australians go, yeah, no. So they blow out all the code and rewrite the code. It's illegal as fuck. It violates every single term of service that we buy them with. But, you know, if it's on your airfield and your mechanics are doing it, then, you know, whatever's going on.
What are you
The
going to do?
F-111s, for example, had major changes done to them by the Australians. They had their bomb bays were increased. Their range was increased. It's still actually classified how far their range was increased, because their placard range is 4,000 kilometres, which is a long way for a fighter bomber. That's long legs. You know, that's intercontinental.
Yeah.
Now you'd have to refuel coming back if you were. Well, when they bombed Tripoli, they took off from London, Biggin Hill, and they went down the Atlantic. They weren't allowed to go across Spain. Spain wouldn't give them air rights, and they didn't want to go across Egypt because it was a bit sensitive. So they went round Spain, down past Morocco through Gibraltar, and then back out into the Mediterranean, and then straight in from different angles. And they refilled once going in because they wanted hover time in case they needed to fight. Turns out they did need to fight, and they came back on 1 tank of fuel.
Yeah.
Some of them even had to flare out on their way back to the base so that they could be light enough to land.
Yeah.
This just, it just fascinates me, that kind of stuff.
But
The Germans and the Europeans, who I like a lot, because, super cool. Since the Second World War, we don't do the aggressive things, we do the defensive things. And we do a lot of, the beer and the Viking, and, the fun stuff. You should come to our nightclubs. They are very, very interesting places. And there's a place in East Germany now that they're rebuilding. They built one version, but they're rebuilding it again, called the Dresden Dolls.
Right.
And they're redoing the Dresden Dolls, and they're getting people who are trannies, and they're getting people who are misfits to make shows in the style of the Dresden Dolls.
Yes.
And apparently it's fucking amazing.
Well, Germans do know how to party and put on a nightclub and that sort of thing.
Oh, don't they?
Yeah.
Jesus. I was in a nightclub once in Germany, and I was only there for a few days, but I got taken there by my special friend. And he took me he said, I will take you to a nightclub now, and you will think it's probably the most amazing place you've ever been. And we went to this place on the docks, and I thought, I hope he's not taking me to a meat market, because that'd be fucked. And he took me to this fucking submarine that was sitting there. It was a fucking nuclear submarine. It was clearly for ICBM bombs.
Yes.
And I'm going, we're getting a tour of a fucking submarine. And so you get let in by the bouncer who's in full fucking naval uniform, and he checks your shit, and he gives you a full scan for fucking weapons and shit like that. And then you get in, and there's more sailors checking you out and patting you down. And there's another sailor who pats you down really thoroughly. And there's another sailor who's got warm towels and wipes you down really thoroughly. And there's another sailor who rubs your back with oil really thoroughly. And you're starting to get an impression. Then you walk, you don't have to climb down the conning tower. There's a lift. So I got the lift down the conning tower. I think the submarine's been refitted. And you get in there, and with all the missile tubes and all the rack spaces and all the gear gone, because it's dry docked, it's just sitting there.
It's
and there's so much space. There's like chill rooms and bars, and fucking the dance floor had fucking mist coming down from it, and it was alcohol mist. There was like alcohol mist coming down from the fucking. Oh, it was just nuts. And you can hire private rooms. Up the back of the submarine in the once was. Oh, you're not allowed to go into what once was the nuclear reactor.
The reactor,
the reactor room is sealed off and will be so forever.
For the obvious reason,
Hey?
For the obvious reason,
Well, they didn't. I mean, there's no radiation in there, but they didn't want Who Wants to Chance, right?
Yeah, you don't want the grief.
And so we're running around this fucking ex-Russian Typhoon submarine that's just enormous. And of course, the Typhoons had a spar in them because the idea was they were going to let off all their missiles, destroy the world, and have to live on this submarine for 3 years. So there were two main areas. One main area was for the peeps and the bombs, and one main area was the storage of fucking food and goods and stuff and funnies and fun, because you know how boring it gets when you've got locked in from COVID. Well, they get locked in from nuclear for 3 years.
Yes, and they go a bit crazy. I think James thinks he's getting Rammstein vibes from this. Like, they're into a bit of the decadence, Rammstein. The singer from Rammstein has a side project that's even weirder than Rammstein. Someone introduced them to me a couple of years ago. There's a video. It's on YouTube. It has a single called "Praise Abort," and it's his. Yeah, he's literally saying abortions are great because the story, and then he goes, "I like to fuck with no French letter because that way the sex is better." And then it goes about, but then my wife gets pregnant, so I praise abort because she can have abortions, and it's so Lindemann, because that's his surname is Lindemann. And so this side project is just called Lindemann.
You make me smile, Dr. Lindemann. You make me smile.
And he's just, it just goes the whole way. He's just full of loathing for other people, self-loathing. And he eventually decides women are just too much trouble, so he's going to start fucking dudes. But then he hates the dude he's fucking too. But at least the dude doesn't get pregnant.
That is so Lindemann.
Yeah.
What's the one where they take the fire truck? What's that one called?
I don't know. That's a very limited description of something. Okay. And I'm not actually that well versed in Rammstein anyway.
Think Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called not petroleum. Oh, it's called
gasoline. I don't know.
Oh, it's not even called gasoline. It's called. No? Oh shit! It's something petrol at the end. And anyway, they turn up to this place and they douse it with fucking looks like napalm and burn 4 kinds of fuck out of it.
Fair enough.
And it's very satisfying. And I've also seen the Rammstein one where they're all fat, old, rich men who turn up in S-Class Mercedes, and they get out of their cars and they've all got pretty young nurses with them who are giving them oxygen and shots to do the songs. And then these fat old, you've seen that one, yeah?
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. It's like they've asked themselves, what are we going to be doing when we're 70? Well, we're going to be old.
More of this.
Fat and rich. Yeah. And, you know, because apparently Rammstein invested their money very well.
Oh, good on them.
They've got like a lot of dough.
Yeah.
So when they make a film clip, they put a lot of dough into the film clip, and they sell a lot of records in Germany, and now that the download revolution has come, one of the other things they do, apparently, I don't know this for sure, but this is what I've heard, is they'll sell singles for cheap, albums for fairly cheap, and then they'll sell the album with tracks and samples. So what you can then do is, and the albums are not those albums aren't set out with, you know, here's the song. They're set out with 8 tracks and here's the song. Yeah. So then you can get in,
do your own remix.
and
Yeah.
remix everything
Yeah.
and make your own remixes. And they apparently look forward to seeing the better ones. And Björk has apparently had a look at this idea and gone, you know what? That could be good. Trouble is, Björk is such a fucking loon that you'd be hard
Yeah.
pressed to go, right, you've got a tree lark
Yeah. But
sample.
she's a
And
loon in a good way.
she's a
Where,
loon in an amazing way.
yeah,
She's in a
where she
loon in an
says,
amazing way.
I'm going to only wear red for a year. And when some journalist tries to give her a hard time over it, she literally punches him. And
She punches journalists a lot.
yeah.
She came out of an airport once and she, fuck, you've been on a flight for 20 hours. Come on.
Mm.
Or, in Europe, you've been on a flight for 3 hours. Come on. And she's come off and said, okay, look, guys, photos of me, not happy, but photos of me. Photos of the kid, no. So the kid was on like a road case that she was pushing.
Yeah.
And then some fucking paparazzi came up close to the kid and click, 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 click. And she went fucking off. Camera destroyed, paparazzi on the ground, fucking punched, kicked, you name it. Her fucking security had to drag her off. And her security then went to the paparazzi and said,
yeah.
righto, guys, you've got the fucking message. I think you've had enough shots now. It's time to fucking go, or we're going to go to the knockout cells. And she got in trouble for that. She basically got hauled up in front of court and said,
tend to get in trouble for that
Björk,
sort of.
you're not allowed to hit people. It's a thing. And then she argued, I was convinced that pap was going to harm my child, and I was convinced that I had to protect my child. And the judge said, in what way? And she said, both physically and in the future, because one of the things we celebs live in fear of is if our kids get photographed, they can be identified and kidnapped. And if the kids are kidnapped, you end up paying a lot of money for a dead kid.
Yeah.
And they do live in fear for that. And the paps are usually pretty good in the sense that they know that's the deal. That's the go. Don't take photos of the kids until they're grown. And then they, because what happens is as soon as you see a photo of your kid in a mag, you've got to basically put them in a cage. They've got to have a security cage around them all the time. And you can't grow up. You can't grow up a normal kid. In that situation. You can't, your life has suddenly become in an iron bowl. And, that sucks. So go Björk. But I reckon remixing a Björk track would be
challenging.
difficult.
Yeah. Because irregular rhythms and, as you said, incredibly unusual instrumentation and sampling would absolutely be a challenge, to put it mildly.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be finding samples that you'd go, I don't know where this is in the song. And then, someone in the know would say, oh, well, what she did was she actually reversed it and stretched it and then cut it up into bits and then put it in the snare.
Yeah. Even not quite as extreme as Björk, but one I always remember, my all-time favorite bands, Australian band that was around 80s, earlys and 90s, Not Drowning Waving. They were renowned for doing very ambient style music, but they also had some fairly kickin' stuff as well, and they were very good live. But one of the things that, and they were like certainly the only Australian act I ever saw do that. They had a guy, their guitarist used a guitar synthesizer. He was basically feeding the guitar into this synth stuff, and he'd be doing delays and feedback and loops. And 9 times out of 10, when they were playing, the only way to work out what he was doing was to consciously separate out everything else. You go, that's the piano, that's the strings, that's the brass. Okay, that weird fucking noise that's left, that's the dude with the guitar. I don't know how he's getting a guitar to do that, but it's the only noise that's left. So it's clearly him with his guitar synth doing that.
And you know that without it, the song just wouldn't work.
Oh yeah, no, it was integral. They were so meticulous with the way they put songs together, and it was the guitar synth was their unique sound. But it was literally like it's blending into this perfect harmony. But you'd just be sort of going, the fuck is the guy on the guitar doing? Because he'll do something, and I don't hear any, like he's doing a strum, and I don't hear any sound. And then he goes down to the pedals and whatnot, and something happens because he's actually storing the sounds and looping them.
I remember watching Not Drowning Waving and watching him because I'd heard about this.
Yeah.
And I saw him working so fucking hard all night because he's constantly hitting pedals, tweaking dials, bending strings, strumming correctly, hitting another pedal, tweaking pedals so they're right, because he's got foot pedals that, because you can't lean down and fucking move dials.
Yeah.
So he's got apparently, those foot pedals that make hospital beds go up and down?
Yeah.
Apparently he's got them set up on his pedals to make the dials go up and down.
Yeah.
And so he hits them. And he's like, it's like he's fucking dancing to try and get the right sound. And then he gets it. And how do you know which version of 8 pedals of which sound through which synth is the right one? How do you find that?
Practice.
Unless you just know it.
Yeah.
The other thing that blew my mind when I heard the story was, I can't remember the name of the band, you will. The band that sings Under the Milky Way Tonight.
Church.
Steve
Kilbey and the Church.
They were in Denmark, and they were recording Under the Milky Way Tonight.
Yeah.
And at one point, the producer said, "We need a bagpipe solo here."
Yeah.
And the band just looked at him and gone, "What?" And he's gone, "We need a bagpipe solo here."
Yeah.
And they're all going, "We've got this studio for the next day. Where are you going to get a bagpipe soloist now?"
Yeah.
And he went, No. Wait here. I'll go and find one. And so
I'll go and find a bagpipe soloist.
They've all gone, well, should we go and get something to eat? Or should we'll have a smoke and a chat and a bitch about our producer who's clearly fucking lost it. Jesus, boys, what are we going to do? Because we're going to lose this fucking studio who we love, which we love, and we're not going to get the sound again. Because there's what was being very trendy back in those days was they were building studios where you could basically go to the same architecture, put a mini disc in, and all of the sliders and the sound baffles would go to the same spaces. So it was like you're in exactly the same space. Now, apparently this studio was being set up to do that. And so it had all the baffles that you could move electronically and all of the soundscape that you could make. But there was no other studio to match it. And it was so booked up that the next time they had an opportunity to get in there was after album release.
Yeah.
And they were just going, oh, Christ, we've left the lead single to last. And our producer's going off to find a fucking bagpiper at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
Oh, this is not cool. At 1:15, the fucking producer comes back
Yeah.
with a bagpiper
Mm.
that was busking 5 blocks down the road and says,
Why not?
righto, this is Lars. I'm going to show him some music and we're going to do it. And they're all going, okay, that's fucked up. That's wildly fucked up. And then Lars looks over the music and he looks like a busker and smells like a busker.
Yeah.
And he looks over the music and he goes, and he asks a couple of questions in Danish, and the producer goes, oh, and they go, oh, Christ, what the fuck? And then he hits this solo, and 2 takes, it's done. So at 1:30 in the morning, so this whole thing started at 1:10. At 1:30 in the morning, it's done. And then the producer says, righto, now we can do the rest of the song and mix down. We'll be done by 4. They were done by 3. You've bailed on me, big guy. And that scares me.
I just remembered something absolutely critical. Hang on.
Absolutely critical.
Oh, Jesus.
When you're trying to make a nuclear bomb go off, it's actually harder to make them go off than it is to make them go fizz.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my God, you know it's the actual anniversary. This is going to be my next cocktail video, the atomic bomb cocktail. 2 days from now is the anniversary of the Trinity test, the first detonation of a nuclear weapon.
I did sort of slip it in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And my favorite bit of trivia about that is it was all theoretical up until the point they pushed the button. And they were fairly confident in their science that this was going to work, but they didn't know for sure until they pushed the button. And so there was basically a sweep among the scientists on what's going to happen. And the guesses, most people thought it's going to work, it's going to blow up. But the guesses ranged from it won't work at all, it will fail completely, through to it will cause an uncontrolled chain reaction that we won't be able to stop and it will end all life on Earth. And they all looked at that guy and went, how about you fuck off?
Yeah.
Because they couldn't actually...
He was certain. He was certain that was going to be the go.
I don't know.
But
I think he was taking the piss.
Press the button.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be going, don't press the button?
Yeah, that's why I think he was taking the piss, because if he thought that was a reasonable possibility, he would have argued vehemently to stop the test. But none of them could rule it out. When he brought it up and said, well, what we could see is an uncontrolled chain reaction that just keeps going and going and destroys all life on Earth. And they couldn't categorically say that wouldn't happen. No one thought it would happen, but I think they were just looking at him saying, get fucked, you're not coming to any more parties, you're ruining the mood. And then it went off and did a big boom and made a massive fucking crater. And again, yay, we can kill people. Excellent.
And I heard another bit of trivia on that was that Oppenheimer's greatest fear was that, because he was standing next to General, never remember his name, but the guy who made it happen. They had spent a third of the GDP of the war on making this fucking device.
Yeah.
And if they pressed the button and just a few fucking explosives went off and nothing happened, how was he going to explain that to this general who was responsible for a third of the money of the USA?
Yeah.
And he was going, Jesus, fuck, I hope this goes. And then it went off. And, there was that whole thing of him quoting the Bhagavad Gita going, I am Kali become
Death, the destroyer of worlds. Yeah.
Apparently what he said is, holy Jesus, fuck, is what he actually said.
It's like the last reported words of the Challenger space shuttle from the flight recorder were, I don't believe that. When they realized it was going to blow up, it was like, fuck you, NASA, you're all cunts, I fucking hate you.
Yeah. Who missed that, you fucks? Bang. Apparently, however, what was the last one that went up? Columbia.
Oh, yeah, the one that blew up over Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, they didn't even know. Apparently, they were just going, that's getting warm. That's getting warm. Oh, we're getting some shimmy. Bang.
Yeah.
And it was all over.
Which would be a saving grace, quite honestly.
What stunned me was when they put the next ones up, they said, oh, now we've got a camera that can actually look at the underside of the ship, and we've got a way to stick tiles back on. And I'm going, and it took you to now?
Yeah.
It took you to now to figure that out?
Yeah.
Now
why you didn't do it before.
This?
Yeah.
You couldn't see the underside of the ship until now.
Yeah.
What the fuck? These things fall off. You've seen it so many times. And I was just going, you are fucking kidding me. Because basically what it was an extra couple of extensions to the Canadarm, which worked flawlessly the entire fucking time it was up there.
Yeah.
The Canadians apparently put that together in 3 months. It was tested and ready to go in 6.
Yeah.
So it was ready to go basically 9 months before flight started again. And they were testing it underwater the entire time. And it was like flawless. They had ample space for tiles and glue, and then they trained all the astronauts how to stand on the Canadarm, get put into place, because there's cameras now everywhere, and then they could glue the fucking tile back into place. If it stuck out, it didn't matter because it'd shave off. I don't know, man.
So it's all built by the lowest bidder.
It's like this fucking thing with the American planes, right?
Yeah.
They cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But you've got to sweep the runway clean, because if a bolt goes in, it'll break the whole... Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Bloody... the Harrier jump jet was built directly because they said, hey, in the result of the nuclear war, the first thing they're going to do is bomb fuck out of all of the airports. Why don't we build a plane that can land without an airport?
Yeah.
Hey, good idea.
Yeah.
So they did that. And that's just gone. And then everyone said, oh, it's shit. Falklands War happened and everyone went, not so shit.
Air superiority.
Really good. Actually, not too bad, because it actually gives you air superiority and ground attack. And that's been the holy grail for airplane designers for 30 years. 40 years is put both in. The new one, the GR83, and I'm not talking about the new one, which is the Joint Strike Fighter, but the GR83 goes Mach 2.5 and has enough engine capability to take off vertically with a full load. It has extra fuel, it has longer legs, and it has a lower float speed so that it can, because the US Marines buy the Harriers. That's their plane, and they put them on their pocket carriers. So the landing craft take the Marines to the shoreline, and then the Harriers come across and upset anyone who's trying to hurt the Marines. And by upset, I mean, Jesus Christ, the fucking death that they fucking belch out is just insane. You know how those A-10s have got a big fuck-off Gatling gun in the middle of them?
Yes.
The Harrier GR-83s have 2 of them.
Yeah.
And they're set to spread in an arc. So you're not actually aiming at anything. You're just basically taking out grid squares.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think I like any of you here.
Street sweepers.
And then I'm going to drop a couple of very hot missiles on you. And they're designed also so they've got a dual radio system, so they can be controlled from the ship and CIC, but they can also be called in by the boys. The boys can say, anyone help?
Right here.
I'm in the ship here. I'm pinned to the north and the south. And then the planes will go, well, I'm sort of close. If you pop green, I'll know where you are. And then you say where you need sorted. And they'll pop green and go, please sort north. North it is, my friend.
Yeah.
And there's nothing north for a couple of kilometres.
Yeah. The ground swept clean, basically.
And CIC and fucking ground radio have this protocol that ground radio has precedence. If the CIC has sent you on a mission and ground radio calls up, ground radio goes first, then you go back to your mission. And these things now have such long legs that they can loiter and go back to a mission and come back. They've got like 4 hours flying time in them, which for a fighter bomber is just unheard of. I mean, I'm talking at speed, with manoeuvring, with fucking load, with, you know, all the whistles and bells. 4 hours flying time with fucking fuel to spare to land. So, you know, they've also changed the starter mechanism. The starter mechanism was always a charge to blow the engines into spin. But that means you've got to have a base. Now they've turned it into basically Tesla style electricity starter motor, and fuck, they're amazing. I want one for Christmas.
Anyway, sorry? I found a drink I'm going to make.
Do that.
Partly because it features blood orange, and I've actually got some blood orange juice that I squeezed fresh. Oh, I need some ice in my shaker. I just realized. Yes, and that's exactly how I feel about the blood orange juice. It's very tasty. It's very good.
It's very nice, the blood orange.
Right, so ice.
Now, while you're doing that, I'm going to make myself a beverage, and
good man.
I'm going to make myself some food.
All right, that sounds completely legitimate use of your time. I shall keep the troops entertained then.
While I make myself
while you do
ready.
the necessary.
Yep.
Alrighty. So, good friends, this here thing I'm making is called There It Is. It's from the Difford's Guide website. Mr. Simon Difford himself invented this one, apparently, when he was working at a place called the Cabinet Room in London. Invented it in March 2014. So, There it is. It is 1 shot of blended Scotch whiskey. So I have, courtesy of the good people at Costco, a really, this is mostly gone, really large bottle that had blended Scotch whiskey in it. It's actually quite good. Quite smooth drinking, that one. And now it also calls for Old Geneva, which is a bit goddamn obscure. It's actually like the precursor to gin. And Old Geneva is often described as like a cross between gin and whiskey. So that's what I'm going to just do this while Lady's speaking food. Aussie Gun Bunny, how you doing, buddy? Just making a drink. So because Old Geneva is described as a mix of gin and whiskey, instead of 1 shot of Old Geneva, which I don't have, I'm going to do half a shot of this gin, an Australian gin, from the Tiny Bear Distillery. Call that the Gypsy. This is a Gypsy Bear, the Gypsy. This is a spicy gin. Well, not like Mexican food spicy, but gin-wise. It's a bit of a spicy number. So I'm doing half a shot of that and half a shot of whiskey. And again, Australian gin, Australian whiskey. Starward twofold. I'm doing half a shot of Starward twofold to approximate Old Geneva. Aussie Gun Bunny trying to use a camcorder as a webcam. Apparently, with a lot of video cameras, there's particular software you can get that does let you use them as a webcam. Now, the other alcoholic component of this is maraschino liqueur, cherry liqueur. Love this glorious 70s vibe bottle. So half a shot of maraschino and 1 full shot of blood orange juice, which I have squozened myself. And a very bright red it is. So this is going to be a very red drink with the Scotch and the blood orange being dominant colours, other things being clear. Shake it. A little bit of away from the microphone so it doesn't hurt anyone's ears. Okay, that is very fucking cold now. Ooh. So you know, with a metal shaker, when you've shaken it enough, when it's really painful to hold on to anymore. Get my glass. I put a bit of rock in it. Big old cube of ice. The wrapper, Ice Cube. The artist formerly known as Ice Cube. Where's my strainer? My Hawthorne strainer. Break the seal on the shaker. And strain. Oh yes, it is a very pretty colour. So I thought it might be. All right. And there it is. Isn't it a nice colour? I guess if you're the insecure type, you'd think this is not a very manly colour. It's very pink. Looks a bit more peach on screen. In real life, it is quite pink. I think I might make this one in a video just because it's so pink, which is Shannon. Hey, how you doing? Assuming I like it, of course. Ooh, that's some interesting flavors. Whiskey and gin. Ooh, it's surprisingly light. Hey, Safa, how you doing? It is surprisingly light. The gin, because I used a fairly feisty gin, because I was only putting half a shot in. This is a fairly feisty gin, and it's coming through. not in a bad way. It's coming through. Oh, Shannon, you're talking about yeah, you know, AIDSy's just making some dinner. I don't know, maybe there are people who want to join. Obviously you want to, which is cool. Let me do the why not indeed. The link. Oh, and you're on Facebook. I'll have to go in and put it on Facebook manually. Have we talked about the Palace Papers? Yes, Safa, we did talk briefly about the bullshit that was the dismissal and the Palace Papers. I don't think the Palace Papers tell us a goddamn fucking thing. Just that John Kerr was a piece of shit. So there, okay, I put it in the stream on Facebook. So yes, there you go. Anyone feels like joining, we can give AIDSy a... Oh, actually, I won't be surprised because he could hear us, I assume, off while he's making food and beverage. Yes, he can. There you go. So...
Mike.
What?
Don't mute me, Mike.
I just thought you might fall over.
Fall over. You
All
can
right.
see me if I fall over.
Mm,
You go...
that's true.
Oh, shit. AIDSy's fallen over.
Yes.
Is Jason there? Oh, sorry. Is boss of the house there? No. Call an ambulance.
Don't forget your
See,
address.
Nice people like that would... Hello. Hang on. Hi.
Oh, there we go.
How you doing, Grasshopper?
Hey, AIDSy.
Hi.
Glad to see you're out of the hospital, bud.
I know, right? Because like I was in hospital doing a couple shows, and you know what was really weird was the guys were cool with it, except for one guy who I was trying to work out how to kill in his sleep, and the nurses were coming around going, "Can you keep it down a bit? There's a woman in the other room who's getting a bit distressed about it." This fucking woman screamed and yelled and psychoed it all fucking day. And at one point I said, you know, ladies, it's maybe time for the haloperidol. And they went, yeah, well, you know, we can't sort of give it to her without her permission. I said, oh, no, not for her, for me. And they went, we can sort something out. Yeah. And they did. They came back with this needle cocktail, which was weird because it was green and clear and yellow, but it didn't quite mix. It was like a tequila sunrise. And they've like pumped it into me, and they've gone, no, this is a vein one. And they've pumped it into me. And the first thing I felt was like, I've wet myself. I've wet myself really badly. And they say, have you wet yourself? And I've gone, yeah, pretty extensively. And they said, well, you probably didn't know that we put a bottle there. So when you finish wetting yourself, tell us, and we'll get the bottle out. And the bloody thing was nearly full. These things are nearly 1.5 liters. I would usually urinate 250 mils, maybe. And so I've given it to them going, that's insane. And they said, don't worry, because you won't wet the bed for the rest of the night. And then I hit this euphoric stage where I've gone, I'm in love. I'm in love with the bed, the steel railings of the bed. I'm in love with the electronics of the bed. Oh, and here come the nurses. They are clearly my princesses of joy. I'm about to drop a lot of sugar with my manky hands. And then I felt very tired and stopped being able to speak. And the nurses said, well, thank Christ for that. And I, in my mind, went, well, fuck you. Oh. Fuck you. Like that. And I was asleep for...
That was on the inside.
In the inside, because I couldn't say it. Um, and basically, I slept for 8 hours. It was the best sleep I had in the whole
Nice.
fucking time I was there. And I
Excellent.
woke up in the morning bouncing and cheery, and then talked to the psych. And weirdly, because I was bouncy and cheery, I opened up about some things that I never talk about to anyone. And we got to the nub of my psychological difficulties. And it's going to be an interesting climb. But we now know what is at the basis of Adrian's fucked upness. Interesting place to go, your mind. Interesting place to go, especially when you can't move your body. So, yeah, I'm out of hospital. I'm experimenting with what actually put me in hospital. I'll let you know how they go. Different
Good.
drugs, different forms
Good.
of drugs, different bangs on the head. If I end up back in hospital, you'll know that I've hit upon the right formula.
Right.
The reason why I would do that is to not ever do it again.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'll be back after making dinner.
All
right. How you doing, Andrew?
Good, man. What have you been up to?
Not much. You can see my background's a bit different now. I'm no longer out in my workshop.
Yeah, it's a sparser background than you had before.
Yeah, it's a tad bit warmer on the inside than it is out in the bloody garage.
It's not a good time of year to be working from the garage. No.
No. And outside tonight, it's really cold and damp and windy and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, no, if I can move inside, I'm moving inside.
Yep. So where are you again?
Rural New South Wales.
Okay. Yeah.
If anybody's interested, look for Camden, and I'm a little bit further than Camden.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Help, man. You think that's rural? I grew up in Dubbo, so that's
Hey, Dubbo's pretty damn rural, yeah?
That's right out there. Yeah. We seem to be getting similar weather here, like basically the coldest and dampest weather we've had all winter. So I think we've got a couple of weeks of fairly cold evenings, and we might start to see some sort of turnaround in August. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it's not as cold as it should be, unfortunately, but,
There is that.
Climate change is a myth,
Yeah. Yeah, although it hasn't been that cold. At the start of winter, they were saying this is going to be colder and wetter than it has been for years. And it's like, it's been a bit wet, and there's been some brisk and chilly days, but, it hasn't been...
The idea that this is going to be one of the driest winters. I'm always excited for the beginning of summer. I don't like summer in and of itself. I don't like the heat, but
yeah,
I'm always excited for the beginning of summers because usually then we get some really good storms, and I love a good storm.
Bushfire.
Well, let's hope for none of those, AIDS. Let's hope for none of those.
Bushfire. Yeah.
You get some musical accompaniment too, but that was an alert, was it? It's like
it was a musical.
A clown.
It was a musical about how a prime minister fucks off to Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be a great musical. As bushfires ravage the country, Scummo is poolside in Hawaii.
That's one thing that really shit me during that whole bushfire emergency thing. Scummo buggers off over to bloody Hawaii and does his, the media's all over that, and what a horrible guy and all of that sort of stuff. But nobody reported on what Albanese was actually doing during that time.
Exactly.
He was down there. He was in the thick of everything, helping make sandwiches,
fucking organising people, moving shit around.
He was doing all of the fucking right things, and the media says
out of his own pocket, fucking fed 8 firefighters who'd just been shifted oddly, and they weren't rationed, so they hadn't had anything to eat for a day. So he said, "Oh, fuck this," and he got his own card out went to a local shop and said, I'm going to buy all of your pies and all of your sandwiches, and I want women in the town to be making sandwiches because these guys have got to get fed. And he paid for all of that. And as the cameras have gone, oh, what are you doing? He said, oh, nothing much, getting some stuff. And then it came out from the firefighters. I said, no, he fucking got us all a feed.
Yeah, no, the media's only too happy to report on ScoMo no matter what he's doing, but they fucking ignore Albanese because, you know, people might actually fucking start liking him then. That just shits me up the wall.
Yeah, they might fucking vote for somebody who did something during the bushfires. Albanese has been talking to Daniel Andrews, Daniel Andrews, about this fucking COVID. What a kind of thing to have to happen. You almost won, and then splat. You have fucking another outbreak. What a shit. Anyway, he's been talking about it, and he's been lending him the medical officers. And so he's been putting in policies according to what the medical officers say, and couching it in terms to make it easier for Melburnians to swallow. Because we're not allowed anywhere. No one will let us in. Fair enough. We are diseased and plagued.
We are diseased.
And fucking every time ScoMo moves, he talks to his fucking PR people. What the fuck? It's like fucking Trump. It's ridiculous. Making dinner.
Yeah, make your dinner, son. Now New South Wales seems right on the cusp of having the same problem we're having in Victoria. We'll see. The next week or two will tell. But
you can drive to where the biggest outbreak is here in New South Wales from my place in about 10-15 minutes. So it's closer to my home than it's ever been before. So we're being extra cautious here now. We're doing things like one of the things that I haven't done during this whole lockdown thing is do the online shopping and have the shopping sent to the front door.
Yeah.
But we're actually going to start getting that done now. We're not taking any chances.
That is making sense, quite honestly.
Are you close to the lockdown areas down in Melbourne there, Ozzy?
Not yet. They're actually in the hot spots are in the very different, like they say it's in the northwest and I'm literally in the southeast. So right. I am literally in a very different area.
I'm locked down.
Yeah, your AZ is right on the edge of some of the areas known as hotspots. Yeah,
I'm locked down and I go out every day.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. You're a bad man.
Yeah, that's a stupid thing to do, AZ.
I also have a compromised immune system, and I don't wear a mask.
You shouldn't be broadcasting
and
this,
I like to come up next to people and go, "Hello, are you soft?" Anyway,
I sincerely hope that you're joking.
No, look, I'm as careful as I can be, but I must actually go out every day. I have to. I go a very careful route. People around this place are actually very, very considerate. They're very, very good at social distancing. People will stop and let you go past. You will stop and let people go past. People thank you for that. In shops, people don't crowd. If you're looking for something in the shelf and can't find it, you will get out of the way for someone who can and then get back to find it again. People are doing a lot of really fucking respectful and patient things. I saw one girl go off at a girl in a chemist, the staff in the chemist, and the fucking, not the staff, but the customers rounded on her and fucking got right up her. And the customer said, "You have to leave. You have to leave now." And then the staff said, "You have to go." but the customer said, you have to leave now. And one of the customers said, don't know if you like this, but I am filming all of this, and if you don't leave, this is going up on YouTube in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so she turned around and pissed off. So, I can't help anything about the virus itself. Happily, I'm not a high-risk person, which is ridiculous considering I've got no immune system to speak of. But also happily, I am able to keep enough distance from people, and I have somewhere to go.
Adrian, don't you need to go and cook your dinner?
Hey?
Aren't you cooking your dinner?
Yeah, it's just fucking Weet-Bix, and it's not hard.
you keep catching yourself and saying, "I'm making dinner," and compelled to come back.
I'm just afraid that something's going to burn.
It's not like I've got anything on the fucking stove cooking away.
You're not cooking fried eggs and bacon over there. Oh.
No.
Hey, just making sure that you're all right, AT. That's all, mate.
Grasshopper, I thank you. I shall bring the Weet-Bix as evidence that I can make Weet-Bix.
Oh, please don't make us watch you eat Weet-Bix, mate. Please don't.
Well, how the fuck am I going to have dinner if I can't eat the fucking Weet-Bix?
Oh, well, it's almost bedtime anyway, so if we keep him talking.
My mouth closed. How about if I eat my Weet-Bix with my fucking mouth closed? Does that work for you? Do
them intravenously. Do it. Weet-Bix suppositories, and you get all the nutrition that way.
Oh, that was
one fucking time. That was one fucking time. And I asked you not to tell anyone.
Yeah.
You fucking
please, you'd film that and put it up for everybody to see anyway. Don't you lie to us.
Fuck you.
Hey,
sorry, saying hi to John and Lars in the chat. Yeah, we got to see.
How you doing, John?
Oh, John wants to tell us a story. I'll put the link, John. Oh, actually, no, John, you're on Facebook, which is I already look in the chat on Facebook. I put the link there. You just have to click on that link that I put in Facebook, because if I do it from here, it won't show up on Facebook, but I have put it there. So, So what else have you been up to?
Mate, just trying to, basically stay healthy during this craziness, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I feel like I've had a bit of an AIDS-y day. Okay, I'll give it a go. All right, this should be good. Yeah, no, just like I was saying earlier, that outbreak that they've found in New South Wales, it's just up the road from my place. So we're just making sure that one of our friends works at a shopping centre that also had a confirmed case and was working the night that they found the confirmed case.
Yeah. Ooh.
So they've both gone off to get tested, so we're waiting on them to come back with results.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. The closest to home that it's ever come, so it's a little bit.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Did you hear about the guy? They made a bit of a meme of it over in America there, but it was a guy that was basically saying, COVID's BS and it doesn't exist, and I'm not wearing a mask and all of that sort of stuff. And then he made another post basically going, I've tested positive for COVID. Oh, woe is me.
And then he died.
And then he passed away. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was, in Miami, there was a vote in, I forget exactly what it was, the state legislature or the city of Miami or something, but there was a vote, these 5 people who got to say whether or not there was a mandate for masks. And the vote was rejected 3-2, so masks weren't mandated. One of the guys who voted against it is in intensive care with COVID now. And it's just like...
I never wish death upon a person.
No.
But the Prime Minister of Brazil getting diagnosed with COVID.
Yeah.
I want him to get sick. I want him to... I don't want him to die, but I want him to feel the full range of symptoms of something he doesn't believe is real. That's what I want.
Yeah. I heard words coming out of my mouth that I never thought I'd hear. I feel sorry for Boris Johnson because he was kind of doing everything right when he got sick.
No, when COVID first hit, Boris Johnson was one of the people that was saying that it's just a bad cold, it's nothing all that serious, against what the WHO was saying. And then he cops a dose of it, and all of a sudden England's doing everything right in terms of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tories were originally going with herd immunity, which is let the infection run riot, and then they actually have one of the worst fatality rates in the world, and it's not completely clear why, because they've had 10% of the people with confirmed cases die, which is terrifyingly high.
Yeah, that is.
We're not really clear why, but yeah, they were going with the herd immunity, and then it quickly became clear, like, you actually know, even in a best case scenario, herd immunity means 1 to 2% of the population dying. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
How can you have herd immunity against a virus that we haven't had before?
Well, that's the thing. Everyone has to get infected. Everyone has to get infected.
Oh, God. It's like those parents that are anti-vax and they hold what they refer to as measles parties.
Yeah.
You know, and they're giving their kids lollipops. The kids that have had the measles have sucked on, and all of that. And it's just you like, it's nuts. It's absolutely effing nuts.
Yeah. The delusion that measles isn't serious because we all but eradicated it, so people aren't seeing the complications of measles anymore.
100%. 100%. Look, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I've got a degree in biology, and one of the things that we know for certain is how bad the measles really can be, especially if you get it as an adult.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's all levels of bad. And you see some people, I'm not going to say all, but some people who are anti-vax are basically like, oh, you know, measles, it's, you know, yeah, you get a bad fever, you're in bed sick for a few weeks, but you'll be fine. And it's like, oh, no, there's a lot more risk.
Yeah. One of the things, there's blindness, there's organ damage, there's heart damage, and there's death. Infertility, and death. Death is
death is kind of permanent, yeah. It's no, people loved, I think that people love to try and downplay illnesses like as if it's something to be tough about, you know. Sort of like the old 80s, 90s mindset. If you wake up with the death of a flu and you're like, no, I'll get out to work and work it through, and type of attitude. A lot of people, I think, are trying to attack various, like, incredibly fucking dangerous situations and diseases with the same kind of attitude, and it's like, no, don't, please, no.
Yeah. And I mean, with good old COVID, like, people just keep fixating only 1% because 1% sounds really small. First, we don't know if it's going to be limited to 1%, but from an entire population, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. And but then there's the 10 to 30% of people who get severe symptoms and complications that take ages to recover from. And then there's the still unknown percentage of people who are going to have permanent disabilities as a result.
Yeah, no, there's reports coming out of people with permanent brain damage from COVID.
Or organ damage, pulmonary damage. It appears to get into your blood system and do damage. It's doing damage to people's hearts. And
look, I mean, the moment that something infects your lungs, it's got a chance of damaging your heart. That's it's all kind of part and parcel of the same symptoms, same system rather. You know, in some cases of pneumonia, you could do quite a bit of damage to your heart just because of the pneumonia. It's flu season. The thing that kills a lot of people from the flu isn't necessarily the flu virus in and of itself. It's people having heart attacks because of the pressure placed on their lungs.
The complications.
Yeah, so the idea that COVID is affecting people's hearts, I 100%. But I've read little bits and pieces, and I'm going to be very, very clear here. I've not confirmed yet, but I have read from some reputable sources that it's also causing neurological impairments that could be permanent. It's causing hand-eye coordination impairments, memory impairments, and all sorts of different things. So it would seem that the if I may speculate, and I am very clear that I'm speculating, I think that the oxygen starvation caused by COVID is causing permanent, irreversible damage to basically, like, oxygen is for everything.
Yeah. No, that's perfectly possible.
And they've not confirmed that yet, so everybody watching, I am speculating.
Yeah. And there's also, I've forgotten what it's called, but there's some known but quite rare disorder that it's coming out in children, and it's noticed in the extremities, like the feet or something. I forgot.
That was a long time ago. Hang on. I've got a story on that one. Hang on, I'll just find it very quickly.
But it's not conclusive, but there's really disturbing evidence of this. Abigail's going to come and say hi. Abigail, you're here for the last 5 minutes. Yay!
Isn't it always the way?
That's okay.
Hey, Abigail, nice to see you again, darling. How you doing?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm in quarantine. I'm in like actual quarantine.
You had a test, you were saying.
Yeah, I had the test today. I came into close contact with someone who tested positive. So here I am. I got the nose.
Yeah, stick jammed into your brain via your nose.
Actually, the back of the throat was worse than the stick.
Oh,
in the
okay.
nose.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a really strong gag reflex. So yeah, that was very unpleasant.
Sorry, fellas. Sorry. You went there. You cannot give me a straight line like that and expect me not to.
Some dudes are into that.
Yeah. Oh, see, you went and got worse. You went and got worse. Which I love. I'm
just had to take it that little bit further, didn't you, darling?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I hope
so.
I hope that it all
yeah,
comes
me
back
too.
for you, darling.
Yeah. But I have to wait like 3-4 days for the test to come back, and I can't even leave my apartment. And
no, oh no, because you're down at. Wait a minute, you're not in Victoria, are you, darling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I think that there's a massive backlog of people getting tested down there, so it might take 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they told me 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Just be sure, but like they have priority testing for healthcare workers and the like, so they get in first.
Of course.
Obviously. So they said like 3 days or so. But yeah, we'll see.
We can't hear you.
No, I switched off because he was smashing stuff around.
Okay, here we go. Ainsy, what's up, mate?
The healthcare workers are starting to come down with it.
Yes.
Somehow, yeah.
And so
no, it's not what you
want. Find more and more healthcare workers in
I'm gonna have to put a light in front of my face if I'm
which
going
is
to do
their
this.
two biggest. And they're starting to lock them up into isolation, and they're pissed. Effectively, they're trying to get bank nurses and bank doctors to come in. Freelance nurses, freelance doctors. Yeah. And they're not real good because they don't know where everything is. They've got to ask the nurse or the doctor what's your procedures. And so unless they've worked there for a few days, they're really a fucking extra dick. So
they're Klingons, in other words.
You need everybody working hard now.
Sorry,
so there's getting consultants being rung up in their isolation going, we've got this, and this. What do you reckon that is? And these guys are sitting there watching Netflix in their hotel room going, well, if I was there in front of the patient, I would say this, and this. And they're doing things like photographing or videoing the patient and sending the videos off to the consultants. who are locked away going, "Oh, can you squeeze one of the pus balls and sees what happens?" And then the patient goes, "No, I don't want you to shut up." Squeeze.
Ugh,
Ugh.
Jeez.
Oh, that's purple. Yeah, they've got it. Lock them down.
Catherine, just wanted to say I'm sorry to hear about the brain damage from the cerebral palsy. Suffer. As far as we know, there haven't been any confirmed cases in Dubbo yet, but it could happen.
Truck drivers would be a big thing. I think we were about to see a bit of a scare when, we think truck drivers are carrying it up and down the East Coast. And Dubbo is a big stopping point for truck drivers because it's halfway between Melbourne and Brisbane.
And here in New South Wales, the Crossroad Hotel, where they've had the cluster, the sort of start point, is a popular location for a lot of truckers to call in.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think we're about to get a bit of a panic about truckers.
Another piece of trivia for you. Around Melbourne now are official federal and state and Telstra signs going up on telephone poles and around the place. 5G does not cause COVID.
Oh, God.
the fact that we have to keep on reminding the population of this.
Oh, Jesus.
My favourite was Reuters, the very reputable international news service, felt compelled to add to their fact-checking list those types of face masks that have the little metal thing to bend around your nose. They said, the metal strip in those face masks is not a 5G antenna.
Oh, that's the new level of what the hell.
People suck. People suck so much.
A friend of mine's father, he is all of the conspiracies, all of them. He doesn't believe that we landed on the moon. 9/11 was a job, all of it. And he's been jumping up and down about 5G from the moment that somebody said 5G is bad for us. He's been jumping up and down about it. And then COVID came.
It's bad.
Not an hour after you heard about COVID, he's like, 5G, COVID, it's all intertwined. Some of the stuff that he posts on Facebook and in regards to this is just the mental leaps of logic that one would have to do to believe that shit. What the hell?
It's messed up. Well, because I'm about to go to bed, I want to quickly answer Phil's question about how long it takes Redbubble to send merch. Dude, I wouldn't answer that now based on possible complications caused by COVID. But in my experience, the Redbubble people are very responsive. If you emailed them and said where you are and what you want and said, hey, given circumstances and shit's weird, yo, how long would you expect an order to take to get through? And they'll probably answer you. Okay, Johnny Knoxkill is going to get 2 seconds. No, you haven't got the cam on.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, no.
I see Johnny Knoxkill, but I don't see a person. I just see a circle.
I don't hear or see him, so...
No, something's not working for poor Johnny. Oh, well, I'm going to bed anyway. Aidsy, come and say good night. I'm going to bed.
Right. Now, after he hits end there, Abigail, we can stay on and chat if you want to, because I'm free.
Okay, well, I'll have to hang for a bit.
Yeah, cool. You hang as well, Aidsy. Good night, Andrew.
I'm good. I think I'll
No, you can't go. When I switch this off, it'll cut off.
Yeah.
No, when you cut it off the other night, Aidsy and I stayed up and talked for about another 35 minutes.
Did you? Okay, then I'm a dirty, filthy liar. Okay.
No,
there you
go. You just
it's not broadcasting, but the studio's still here. I get it.
That's right. Yeah.
I get it. Cool. Anyway, good night, everyone, because I am going to go to bed. Bit of
night, man.
Farewell.
Have a good one. Thanks for everything, and thanks for letting